Terve! Welcome to Finnish black metal time. This is Barathrum. Now, as many of you know, Barathrum is one of the oldest black metal bands from Finland, started in 1991, and now it's the 10th album, Uberkill. Not exactly the most Finnish name out there, but then again, Demonosova and his group of fine or not so fine gentlemen doing black metal has always been doing what the hell they want, and it's Demonosova path. This 10th album is somewhat different from the previous Barathrum albums, something that I will properly address with my coming Barathrum retrospective video. So let's now focus on the album at hand, the 10th album indeed. Well, it was founded in 1991 and started in a rather crude ways, like it was back in the days anyway. And it was kind of a slow tempo, not so groovy, very bass-driven. Black metal has changed, of course, throughout the years, especially when it started in 1998 with the Legends of Ûberkill album, the album that kind of made waves and put Barathrum really on the map in terms of Finnish black metal. I mean, since those years, a lot of things have changed, especially with the lineup, which is vast, which is majestic. There has been a lot of changes. Let's just quickly give you a little bit of an idea how many people have been in Barathrum throughout the years, like the early 90s, the mid 90s, 2000s and onward. Barathrum has always been changing and going through different phases and all that stuff, but one thing that remains to be in the very, very core and the more or less soul of the band is, of course, Demonosova, the founder of the band, as well as bass player and vocalist, a very prominent and recognizable character who probably divides people into different camps because he's, well, indeed, quite a character. I have been lucky to know this person since 1995 and consider him my friend. I mean, he's always been a nice person to me, but I get it. He can be quite a complicated and, like I said, quite a character. But that's part of the deal. That's part of the reason why Barathrum is a unique thing. I mean, whether you compare it to other early names from Finnish black metal scene, Archgoat, Beherit, Imbel, Nazarene, I mean, they are all different, and Barathrum is no exception. None of these bands sound like one another, and that's part of the charm, really. But like I said, a lot of things have changed throughout the years, and it's kind of curious to realize that after so many years, I mean, there's a 7 years break between this one, as well as there was like 12 years between the previous one and this one. These later years, Barathrum have changed, and in my opinion, for the better. Fanatico from 2017 was a rather strong album. Not that the previous ones were weak, but still. I mean, you can really change your expectations when there is a big gap. Now, 70 years later, from Fanatico, another big gap, some things have changed, including some of the lineup things. And now this is a little bit different album from Barathrum, and it, at the same time, in my opinion, it really feels like a Barathrum album. And what is curious indeed is that Barathrum has been, on their prime last few years. I mean, whether you talk about their live performance or this particular album, things are really, really in nice ways. And this 40-minute 9-track album, Ûberkill, is a good testament to that, because it really could be their best album, or at the very least, one of their best albums. Now, let's start with the basic facts. Yes, it sounds like Barathrum, but in a renewed fashion, meaning it's been shedding their skin, that is changing their style, kind of stepping into a new level. And that is an interesting thing because, while at the same time it is the very basic Barathrum, like not the fastest band out there, more into mid-tempo era and all that stuff. And of course, Demonosova's vocals are whatever they are. I mean, always kind of a dry, raspy vocals, not the screamiest one, not the most hateful ones, not the most aggressive one, but the kind of a Demonosova thing, which you either like or don't, but I mean, they are what is in the very core of Barathrum's soul. But this album is more melodic than the previous one, which is partially, or mostly I guess, because of Sielun Vihollinen guy, Rauta, who has been in the band for a few years now. And while he is doing bass, I mean, it's kind of obvious that his melodic style kind of seeps in. Yet at the same time, this doesn't sound like Sielun Vihollinen. So there's a big difference whether we talk about the melodies of Barathrum versus Sielun Vihollinen. I think what Ûberkill really understands is like that Barathrum is so different band. So while he maintains his certain level of melodic catchiness and the kind of charisma what he has with the guitar playing. It's still they are still very very different bands, and the outcome is quite different. Now, adding these melodies to the very bass-driven music of Barathrum and the rather mid-tempo style is actually very very refreshing. First things first. This album is very, very consistent. There are no weak parts, no moments when you realize what the hell is happening. It sounds Barathrum, but like I said, in a different fashion. So this old school style of Barathrum, like having the legacy still going on, married now to this newer layer, more melodic approach, is very, very interesting because it keeps the whole motion flowing. Throughout the album, you don't find parts like where it just like would find, awkward, weird, cringe, boring, shocking, or anything like that. So it has this good momentum going on, and the melodies are indeed refreshing. Now, at the same time, I gotta say, the production is very, very strong. I really like the guitar sound. It's not like overly produced. It doesn't sound like stereo or anything like that. But it is, like a powerful thing, which then again really supports this kind of a rather simplistic take on black metal. Simplistic meaning there are no fundamentally very technical parts, and you really kind of lean on these very very basic riffs, which have always been, with the bass lines and all, the very very core, the very foundation on with Barathrum is built on. And thinking of all about it, I mean, it's very, very nice that they have strong drum sounds as well, and then Sova's trademark vocals, and the mixing is very, very well balanced. There are no moments when you feel like, okay, something is lost in the mix. You have the space for bass, guitar, drums, vocals in a very, very nice fashion. So overall, I would say this is definitely one of their best albums so far. It's exactly enjoyable listen to. Now, if there is one thing I could bitch about a little bit, I mean, there are no hit songs at this point after a few spins like you could think about, like war metal and the like. So certain moments from the Legion of Perkele era seem to be missing, but then again, this is more consistent as a whole album than that era, which was more like hit and miss. Not like bad songs, but there were clearly these great Barathrum iconic songs now, and then parts which just feel like you could really skip a track and not miss much. But this one, you don't feel like you're skipping anything. And this, I could imagine being, on a live set with those, say, hit songs like war metal. This could really like become the next Barathrum big thing, and it's nice that they're still growing, evolving, progressing, and getting more audience to figure out what this Finnish mentality is all about. So welcome Barathrum 2.0, if we can call it that, and this is a good album you should be checking out. It's out on October 11th through Hammer of Hate Records, so pretty much right now when I'm doing this, at least when you're viewing this, I hope. So give it a go, and links are of course provided in the description box. Should you like physical product, go for the label one, and if not, well, the digital copies are already out there, streams and all. Now off you go, enjoy some Barathrum and get to see them live whenever you can. Bye bye.